Well, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the buggiest of times.
Never heard of buggiest of times.
Well, I just made it up. Mere days after receiving the exciting announcement that Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2 had finally made its way onto the Nintendo Switch, some pretty bad news followed.
Oh.
Well, I suppose bad's a matter of perspective. All right, I'm going to be fair. It's bad news if you plan on actually, finishing the game.
Oh.
I suppose if you never planned on completing it, this would save you a lot of time because you couldn't. But for those of us who revere the Knights of the Republic series and were anticipating playing it, the inability to finish the story due to a game-breaking bug, that's fairly problematic. Shouldn't happen.
All across the gaming world, Star Wars fans raise their voices in unison to seek a solution to their problem.
Well, they really just went on Twitter and Reddit. But I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and while the developer Aspyr finally provided a temporary workaround via a cheat code, it is hard to understand how a game of this stature would make it onto virtual store shelves with such a massive and inescapable bug built into it that prevents players from, progressing.
Well, to be fair, that does sound like a very Sith thing to do. I mean, Emperor Palpatine would be most pleased. But nobody appreciates bugs in their games. I mean, few things pull us out of the joys and the thrills of getting immersed into an incredible story like getting yanked back into the real world to troubleshoot technical problems. I mean, who would want to read a book and find that as you get near the ending, multiple critical pages are missing, preventing you from ever knowing what happened? While the reasons for the existence of such game-breaking bugs are plentiful, I mean, there's human error, there's challenging working conditions, there's rushed launch dates, sometimes you have Cheeto fingers, the impact, because they eat Cheetos while they do it, I'm assuming that I would. The impact that all of these things leave is remarkably similar. They make us want to stop playing the game.
We all face them at some point, unfair challenges in life that do more than merely impede our progress. They stop us cold in our tracks, robbing us of our hope, our joy, and our peace. While none of us appreciate facing the consequences of our own actions, in our most sincere thoughts, we know that many of the problems that we face in life are the result of our own poor choices.
Sure, but what about when they aren't? What about the times when we played by the rules? We acted with pure and honorable intentions. We did the right thing. And we still faced a game-breaking bug that shut us down. When these times happen, that introspective look deep inside of ourselves and our motives doesn't really do us any good. We search and search through our emotions and our actions to figure out what could we have done differently. We blame ourselves for events that we couldn't have possibly predicted or prevented. And in the end, we still find ourselves stuck in the exact same place anyways. No answers for what went wrong, no solution for how to get back on track, most importantly, no idea what to do next. And in those moments, it's easy for us to want to simply disconnect from this unfair treatment and all of these unwelcome feelings. And fortunately, we're not alone when we find ourselves in these places of pain and persecution. Let's take a deeper look.
In the message to the churches in the book of Revelation, the church at Smyrna had done everything right, and they were about to head straight into an undeserved game-breaking bug anyways. The message to the people was a warning, not because of anything that they had done wrong, but because unavoidable persecutions were coming from an enemy source. This wasn't punishment or judgment. No mention of wrongdoing was ever mentioned.
And that's a scenario I think we can all relate to more often than we'd like to. Many times in our lives, we can do everything right and still reach a place where the path forward is blocked. Not because of mistakes we've made or a result of our poor personal decisions, simply because the game isn't always fair. Just like in our Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2 experience, we patiently waited for the game to come out, we dutifully purchased it upon its release, we played it according to the rules, and we still got stuck. What's up with that?
As hard as it is to accept at the time, the trials we are enduring are not always the result of our own mistakes or failures. But if we approach them with short-sightedness, we will fail to learn the lesson that these hard times were designed to teach us. The presence of challenges in our path does not mean we have failed the Lord or are unworthy of moving forward.
Many times it simply means there is a game-breaking bug in our path that is going to force us to be patient, to grow closer to the Lord and submit to His voice. even if the message that we're receiving is just to stand by and await further instructions. Through these struggles, we learn to incline our ears to His voice and tune ourselves to His frequency through the challenges we face. The problem may not change, but our perspective on it will. The only way that we learn to truly hear and submit to the voice of the Father is by the same process Christ endured. And if we will use these seemingly unwinnable battles to grow our dependence on Him, we will gain a victory that not only frees us, but others as well.
The Church of Smyrna was faced with a challenge and a choice. Would they allow the upcoming battles to shake their faith and disconnect them from the Lord, or would they endure these circumstances and forge an even deeper connection?
The challenge was going to be present regardless. Like the game-breaking bug in KOTOR 2, the bug that crashed the game to everyone, it didn't matter if you chose the path of the Jedi, path of the Sith, somewhere in between. It couldn't be avoided, only addressed. Do we quit playing the game forever because we're currently faced with an unmovable obstacle? Or if you haven't started yet, do you choose not to because we've heard that there's problems that are inevitable in our future? Or do we choose to take them on, knowing full well our patience will be tested, but the end game will be worth it?
The choice we face is the same in Knights of the Old Republic 2 as it is in real life. These troubles will come to all of us, and it is up to us to decide what we do with them. These things aren't happening because God is mad at us, stopped loving us, or isn't concerned about us. As a matter of fact, He said quite specifically that Christ did not come to condemn the world, but to save it.
Now, we're all going to face times where we reach a place that has stifled our progress. And it may have nothing to do with choices that we made or the actions we took. And in those moments, we can either allow these game-breaking bugs to make us stronger in our faith and reinforce our desire to finish the game, or we can permit them to disconnect us from the only one who can actually help us. He is not the author of these struggles, but He is the finisher.
These rough waves are coming to all of us, and we make the choice if we use them to make us into more skillful sailors. Let's be patient and grow our faith in the midst of these challenges. The Lord didn't send them to punish us, but He will still use them to perfect us.
The weapons our enemy formed against us will not prosper unless we allow them to. And as a wise old Jedi master once said, in our enemy's vengeful efforts to strike us down, they will only make us more powerful than our adversary ever imagined.